we are contracting spending, then I would think inflation will be dropping. If inflation is dropping, then the Fed should be cutting rates.
So less government spending there. Phil Kerpen is a principal at Unleash Prosperity, and Tim Phillips is the Director of Government Affairs and Global Strategies at Nestpoint. Great to have you here. Tim, your thoughts on this. Do you agree with Powell that the interest rate should be cut more? That wasn't Powell, that was Besson. He made that comment. Do you think that he should bring that down? Powell should be bringing it down?
The Treasury Secretary is exactly right. The rates need to be cut. I'm concerned. Powell's already indicated that they don't think they need another rate cut in December on the Fed. They're wrong. They've been slow to get these rates down. You look at gross domestic product growth in the second quarter, the last quarter we have numbers for, it popped by 3.8% growth. Those are good numbers for this new administration coming out of the malaise of the Biden years. So they need to lower those rates. Inflation is a touch concerning. Last month it was at 3%. So there is a bit of concern, but overall, given the GDP growth, they absolutely ought to be cutting rates faster at the Fed.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Phil? Because as Tim just alluded to, Powell doesn't say that we're going to see another rate cut in December. So how are markets going to react? How can investors prepare?
Well, look, I mean, I think the Fed has become pretty accommodative, actually. We've got not just a couple of rate cuts, but they've essentially ended quantitative tightening. And, look, I want to share the optimism of the Treasury Secretary. I think it's great that federal spending has come down a little bit. Federal borrowing has come down a little bit, but it's still at a very elevated level. And I wonder how much of that is just a timing effect from the government shutdown. And when they come back, it's all going to flow out the door and we're going to have a big increase again for the next fiscal year. And so to me, it would be wonderful if the Fed could continue to be accommodative and without inflation accelerating. But I think for that to happen, Congress has got to get much more serious about cutting spending, and we've got to turn what's been essentially a timing effect with the shutdown into permanent spending reductions. And it's hard to be optimistic about that when Republicans are saying extend current levels of spending and Democrats are saying spend another $1.5 trillion. But if we can get Congress to actually bring spending down, bring inflation expectations down, we can have looser monetary policy. So I think it's all related.
Absolutely. We've also got Halloween. Now is over, but it's time to think about Christmas shopping. Obviously, a lot of people will be doing that. Shoppers should expect to spend more this holiday season, according to CNBC. Leading Lending Tree is estimating that tariffs will increase holiday costs by a total of $40.6 billion. Their study revealed that the American average holiday shopper will pay $132 more because of the tariffs. Lending Tree's chief consumer and financial analyst said this: it may have a real impact on families. It could prompt people to cut back on gift giving this year or lead them to take on the extra debt. So I'll go back to you, Tim. Your thoughts on that?
That's the worry with the tariffs. I do think, and when in Trump administration won, I strongly opposed the tariffs on China. I really thought that it would change China's behavior by keeping our markets open. It did not. They continued stealing intellectual property from us. They continued refusing to open their market up to us. We needed a reset with China, and I think the president's right in doing that. The tariffs across the board around the rest of the world, that's the big question. What is it going to do to the cost to consumers, and especially at the holiday season? So many industries, gift giving especially, it's that last quarter of this year. And that's the big mystery. What is it going to do? Is Lending Tree right? I think it's impossible to tell. But when you do have a new tariff regimen around the world, that's the primary concern without question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. A reminder, get your shopping done early, right? Start saving ahead of time. And maybe, a nice homemade good, American-made goods, obviously, that would be the priority for some of these, the tariffs that you see for overseas-made items. Okay, Phil and Tim, thanks so much for joining us on this Monday. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.